What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So today is a tough day for many people to swallow, but we have to deal in the hard truth, pun intended, as these two guys, they faced off, and we can't make no excuses, as this man, Terence Bud Crawford, stated.
So when I stop him, y'all gonna say he was too weak.
On my life.
And he stayed at 147.
He would not stop
too long.
And then Errol the True Spence Jr., he had this to say.
Then when I stop him, they're gonna say he's too small.
Then Terence Crawford, he responds by saying this.
Okay. Crazy. Careful what you smoking out.
Be careful what you wish for, is what Terence Bud Crawford stated. And then we finally got the fight. A few years later than most people wanted, but we all called for this. We all anticipated this. We all gave Errol the True Spence Jr., who is now 28 wins, 1 loss, no draws, 22 wins by way of knockout. We all gave him credit, and we all praised him for not wanting tune-ups, for going straight into the biggest fights. And we all condemned Terence Crawford. And then last night, we got the ultimate undisputed match that we all been anticipated, and then this happened. The unthinkable. Terence Crawford doing exactly what he stated he was going to do, becoming undisputed in 2 separate weight classes, and that's absolutely outclassing Errol Spence Jr. in this fight, dropping him 3 times and then stopping him in the 9th round. This was, quote unquote, the unthinkable. Nobody imagined that Terence Crawford would stop Errol Spence in the manner he did, dominating this fight from rounds 2 to round 9, dropping Errol Spence 3 times and then getting a stoppage victory. And at times he looked like he let off the gas in this fight because he had sympathy for Errol Spence and respect for Errol Spence. And now, after we witnessed this blundering, because this is what this was, the referee had to jump in, he saw enough. So now is not the time that we start to make excuses. Now is the time that we give Terence Bud Crawford, who is now 40 wins, no losses, no draws, 31 big wins by way of knockout. He is 35 years of age, 5'8" with a 74-inch arm reach. It's time that we now start giving him his roses while he can smell them. There's a lot of excuses coming the way of Terence Crawford in his dominant performance, as we cannot accept defeat. We cannot accept what we witnessed last night because you simply did not expect that. You expected a competitive fight. I expected a competitive fight, but that's not what we got. We received a one-sided dominant performance, and we witnessed greatness on one side, and we witnessed another essentially come up major short, and that was Errol the True Spence Jr. And I know Errol Spence, he has a massive fan base, okay? He has a bigger fan base than Terence Bud Crawford, and it's hard for people to accept what you witnessed last night. And now we're starting to hear the excuses that Errol Spence was weight drained, Errol Spence was inactive, Errol Spence, the toll of, what he's been through in the past is starting to weigh on him, is starting to show. No, that is discrediting Errol Spence, and that is also discrediting Terence Bud Crawford in his great performance last night. Don't take any credit away from Errol Spence. Don't water down Errol Spence as a fighter. He just came up short to another fighter who was just simply better than him in every aspect, okay? Let's not start to make up excuses that Errol Spence was weight drained, that Errol Spence, the car accident and the eye injury started to play a major part, that Errol Spence inactivity started to play a major part, because simply put, when Errol Spence stated to the world he didn't want tune-ups, and Terence Bud Crawford took the David Avanesian fight, Terence Crawford was condemned and Errol Spence was praised. So let's not make up excuses now that Errol Spence was, Errol Spence was inactive and he had a lot of ring rust and that's why his timing was off. Or let's not make excuses and say, well, Errol Spence can't make weight, right? Because Errol Spence made weight. And not only did he make weight, we praised Errol Spence for staying at 147 and waiting for Terence Crawford, quote unquote. Not to mention, there was reports that came out that Terence Bud Crawford missed the initial weight, and people were saying in the lead up to the fight, when they did the grand arrivals, we had tons of people saying that Terence Crawford looked weight drained. His face looked weight drained. He's struggling to make the weight. And now we want to say that Errol Spence was the one that's weight drained and struggling to make the weight, and that Terence Crawford waited him out. Terence Crawford is actually a few years older than Errol Spence Jr. So let's not make up these excuses. Let's give Terence Crawford his roses. And as far as a rematch goes, this performance doesn't warrant an immediate rematch, in my opinion, because there will be more excuses. Although Errol Spence is now saying that he wants the fight to be at junior middleweight, 154 pounds. It wasn't the weight. It was the reflexes. Errol Spence's reflexes, his twitchy fiber muscles are not as twitchy as Terence Crawford's. Terence Crawford beat him to the punch. He has faster hands, faster feet. He responds faster. He has faster reaction times. Those are things Errol Spence can work on, but Terence Crawford also works on them, and he's naturally better at those things. He has naturally better quick twitch fiber muscles. He's a better athlete. He's quicker. He's more versatile. He has power in both hands. Terence Crawford was the stronger guy in the ring, surprisingly. This is to many people surprised, so a lot of people is having an issue with actually accepting what we saw and witnessed last night, that Terence Crawford was actually the stronger guy that hits harder. I told you guys, Terence Crawford has more one-punch knockout power than Errol Spence does. Errol Spence has an accumulation of punches. He has an extremely high work rate. He breaks you down physically and mentally. Nobody, including myself, saw that Terence Crawford could just stay in the pocket and outclass Errol Spence physically and dominatingly. But he did so. And Terence Crawford predicted the moment he stops Errol Spence, and everybody said, stop Errol Spence, just like Errol Spence's response was, stop me all my life. You're not going to stop me. And everybody and all the fans in the boxing world, nobody saw that. But the truth of the matter is, Terence Crawford has only went the distance 3 times since becoming a world champion the first time in his career in 2014. And in one of those fights, he fought Victor Postol, who was a unification bout, and he dropped him twice. When he became a welterweight, he stopped everybody in the welterweight division, including now Errol the True Spence Jr. So the truth is that Errol Spence Jr. is a great fighter, but Terence Crawford is a greater fighter. We've witnessed this, okay? And now we're talking about an immediate rematch at 154. That's only going to suit Terence Crawford just as much as it's going to suit Errol the True Spence Jr. So at the end of the day, let's give Terence Crawford his roses while he can smell them. Let's not make excuses. Let's not take away from the greatness of Errol Spence, because that's watering down his mindset. And that's watering down his legacy, because Errol Spence was the one that chose not to take tune-ups. That's his motto. I don't need tune-ups. I go right into the biggest fights. And he came up short, period. Terence Crawford was better in every aspect. He had faster hands, faster feet, quicker twitch muscles. He had more power. He was stronger. He showed his ring IQ. He didn't make mistakes. He showed he was the superior fighter. And let's give him his credit while we can. Let's not make excuses. And again, as far as a rematch, if it's an immediate rematch, you are going to see a repeat of the same thing. Styles make fights. I think that Errol Spence needs to have a tune-up fight. He needs to get his feet back under him, get back in the groove, get the engine back running, get warmed up, and then work on some things. I told you guys that immediate range, that no man's land area, that's where Errol Spence makes tons of mistakes. And I told you guys that's Terence Crawford's specialty, the no man's land area. When Errol Spence trying to work his way in, he makes tons of mistakes defensively that Terence Crawford is going to capitalize on. When Errol Spence is working his way out, he's on a straight line and he makes tons of mistakes. He leaves himself wide open to be countered to the body and to the head. And Terence Crawford took advantage of those. Those are things that Errol Spence has to work on, period. So let's give Terence Bud Crawford his roses while he can smell them. He was the better fighter. It wasn't the weight drain. It wasn't the layoff. It was that Terence Crawford was the better fighter, period. And that's all I got for y'all. Let's see what's next. I think that Errol Spence should get his feet wet, go up to 54. I have no doubt that it was a struggle for him to make 54. But when the reports came out that Terence Crawford missed the initial weight, everybody jumped on it and said Terence Crawford is struggling. Now we want to say that Errol Spence was the one struggling. No, we can't have it both ways. We got to give credit where credit is due. Point blank and period. Like Terence Crawford said, when I stop Errol Spence, y'all going to start to tell the world that Errol Spence stayed at 47 too long. that Errol Spence was weight drain. No, he was Terence Crawford was the better fighter. Let's just accept what it was. Period. And that's all I got for y'all. Make sure you hit the like button. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. You already know what it is. It's your boy Blue, Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. You haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notification. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV. All one word. I'm gone. Peace.